Hey y'all, it's Anime K-Man. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 8th episode of Kemurikusa. And I gotta say, this episode was sensational, and while at the start of watching this episode I was like, what the fuck? Because this episode, let me just start out with talking about the greatness of this episode now. What I really enjoyed about this episode was they finally trust the Wakaba at this point. And I fucking love it because I like how they kind of symbolize it with the vines that Wakaba used to have. They're completely gone at this point. So I kind of like that little visual detail because they were still kind of slightly on last week and then they're off this week. So I like that. And I really enjoy how throughout this episode you can see the Rinas talk more comfortably with Wakaba. And then Rin doesn't say shit like, when they're on the bus, she doesn't say shit like, oh, well, let's just have someone keep an eye on Wakaba. Like, they even flat out say Ritsu and Rin for the Rinas and Wakaba to sleep so that like, they can rest up and save the energy. So I kind of like those little subtle details because a few episodes ago, Rin would be like, oh, we need to keep someone up so they can keep an eye on Wakaba. But now they trust him to the point where they can let him pretty much comfortably sleep in the same room as the Rinas. So that's progression. And then what's really, really awesome about the character standpoint this episode is we got to see Wakaba mature a bit because I like how in this episode the bot that's pretty much been following around Wakaba pretty much guides him to more bots. And then these bots pretty much were coming from Island 9 and they escaped, and then they mentioned stuff like they want a new captain, they want a new purpose in life so that they're just not hiding away. And all in all, it leads up to like a sad-ass scene when all these little bots died helping out Wakaba. But in the end, they died happily because they died with purpose. And that scene really got to me. It was sad. And I thought it was a great moment for Wakaba to develop some character because when they got rid of the red root while sacrificing their own lives, little bots, I like how in that sequence you see Wakaba crying, but at the same time I felt like that scene was amazing because it gives him character development even though it was sad. Because at least at that moment, you can tell that Wakaba knows how, he truly feels what loss is. Because you see him crying for like the first time in this anime. And then he expresses it saying that he doesn't want to see anyone else like Rin or the Rinas or Ritsu in that situation where they die. So I kind of like that. And it pretty much, that wasn't oh boy moment for Wakaba. That was a man moment. So I like that. You can hella tell he's maturing mentally. And that's why I thought this episode did wonders for Wakaba's character. It did wonders for Rin's character too, because when Rin asked, so would you cry for us if we died too? And then Wakaba's like, of course. And then I like how after the end credits, Rin's like, I don't want anyone else to die, and that includes you too. And then when she refers to Wakaba in that way, I was like, it's come full circle now. It took 8 episodes, but now we have Rin saying explicitly that yes, she cares about Wakaba after a good amount of time, and I like that. Like the small amount of character development beats we get each and every episode into it, for it to culminate into this was amazing. Now in this really makes her relationship feel authentic because who'd have thought in episode 1 you have Rin trying to fucking punch Wakaba thinking he's a red bug, and now they're at the point where she cares about him at this point, doesn't want to see him die. So I love that. So we don't just get character development for Wakaba, we get character development for Rin. We get some characterization for the bots too, because we don't only learn that the red flock fucks him up, the blue flock fucks him up too, which is nice information to learn because that explains why they were turning into like aggressive in like previous episode when the blue flock showed up. So I like that because it also slightly increases the tension because in future episodes they don't just have to worry about fucking red flock. Blue flock's their enemy too. So I kind of like that about this episode also. And while blue flock isn't aggressive, well, they better be careful when there's like fucking bots there that can affect them. So I kind of like that. And that was another positive element about this episode. And simultaneously, I also like how in this episode we made some nice plot progression. Because we got pretty much, I wouldn't say we got through the confrontation because we skipped it. But we pretty much were, from that point, they went all the way towards Island 9. So this story also had some nice plot progression this week. And we find out the information about the bots too. How they wanted to make Wakaba their captain because they wanted to have a purpose. They just don't want to be hidden away. So that was pretty cool too. And when they actually died, it actually was sad. Like seeing them kind of be like some kind of hidden family to finally do some epic stuff and die. That just made their scene when they passed away even sadder. So that was a cool element from this episode too. And I'd say the animation, while it wasn't as strong as previous episodes, I'd say it was still good in the scenes like it mattered when the bots cut the red route. So it still did its job when it had to. And I'd say aside from that, the art was pretty nice. There wasn't anything completely off model. So that was also another cool thing about this episode. And the only downside is they skipped the epic confrontation they were hyping the fuck up last week. And that's like the only thing that like slightly turns me off. It makes me feel like it's like, no, seriously, what the hell? Like, why'd they skip that? Because it looked like it would have been a major confrontation because all the 3 arenas were drained, but they were revived because the 1 arena was still there to help them out. And I really would have wished we would have seen them in battle just to see Wakaba use some of the new Kemurikusa he had built up in the previous episode. Like he had a yellow one, a purple one. I felt like that somewhat. This episode, someone was like a FU to last week's episode, the build-up. And it makes me feel like maybe they could have cut up some of the stuff last week to have them fight to show off the red bug fight from last week and then just start off from this point in this episode. So it made this episode feel rushed. But due to the emotional elements we have in this episode and the character development, this episode is still a fucking epic 9 out of fucking 10 for me. The only thing keeping it from a 10 was that skipping the confrontation hyped up last week with this episode was still amazing. Oh, and the soundtrack was good too. It gave off some good. It helped amplify the atmosphere, and that was also another positive about this episode. And the voice acting was pretty nice, and that's why I thought this episode was 9 out of 10 worthy. It was just so much fucking greatness overall, and the greatness outweighs some of the downsides by far. And I cannot wait to see what they find in Island 9. Oh boy. So anyways, guys and gals, these are my thoughts on Kemurikusa Episode 8. Comment down your thoughts on the episode below in the comment section. Rate the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. If you subscribe for more, or come back for more. Alright, guys and gals, I'll see you next week. If you come for the Kemurikusa reviews and reactions only, or tomorrow if you watch my other stuff. Bye-bye.